Has this ever happened to you?
Oh jeez, I've got the best keyboard ever, but no numpad? Oh, what's this? It's a numpad? Oh my god. Hey, I'm Mr. Numpad. Look at me.
Well, evidently this has happened to a lot of you. As howdy hey, I'm Hipyo Tech, and the #1 comment I get anytime I make a video about custom keyboards, which is a lot, by the way, is,
Oh, where's my numpad? I'm Mr. Numpad.
or to put it in plain English, why is every keyboard nowadays missing a numpad? Have no fear, Mr. Numpad, because in this video, not only am I looking at a budget keyboard, I'm looking at a numpad that goes with it. Now, if you're the 50% of my audience that doesn't care about numpads, then you're gonna still care about this keyboard. Not only is it budget, it's also really good because of these switches, which we'll talk about later. So to solve the question of why custom keyboards are missing numpads, I'm going to be looking at an amazing custom keyboard and also a separate numpad that matches it. Stick around. Speaking of sticking around, if you want an extra howdy hey, then hit that subscribe button and I'll give it to you right now. Howdy hey. Now, this video begins with a bit of a story, and as I stated before, it's related to numpads. This video is sponsored by Cidoo, but with any keyboard sponsorships, they do not get to review the videos, they do not get to tell me what to say, and even though they put "this is exactly what I like, thank you" on the box, that might not be what I say in this video. Now, I'm not going to waste your time with this video. This is the Cidoo V65. It comes in 2 different types, the bare bones and the fully built, and the fully built one is actually a way better value that I'll talk about later. Now, I've been unboxing the keyboard in the background, and it does come with the keycap and switch puller, which means maybe this is hot swap. If you're brand new to the world of custom keyboards, I'll try and make this video as informative as possible, but if you need a little bit of help, then check out one of my beginner guides. Now, this keyboard comes with a USB-C cable, which is a great touch, and oh my gosh, it is a lot heavier than I was expecting. Now, this keyboard starts at $120 US, so my expectations are pretty low for it, as this is putting it right at budget for custom keyboards. Now, I know $120 in budget, that's kind of crazy, but in the world of custom keyboards, we spend an upwards of $300 on a premium aluminum keyboard. And guess what? This thing is a premium aluminum keyboard. So it's probably making some sacrifices, which we'll look at later. Now, if you're interested in it, I'll have it linked down below, but this is a 65% keyboard, meaning that it keeps the arrow keys, but you do not have an F-row or a numpad. No numpad? Which we'll talk about numpads more later. Don't worry, I did not forget about the numpads or Mr. Numpad.
Yeah, you didn't forget about me, did you? Huh.
Please note, my applications are open to be the new voice actor of Rick and Morty. Now, this thing technically comes in 4 different colors. If you buy the fully built version, it comes in a bit of a beige, and oh my god, is that a knob? That's a knob. Where it's knob action. Please, British viewers, look away. This is obscene. Now, of the 4 colors, if you spend $10 less, you get to choose 3 of them, a blue, green, or pink. One of the first sacrifices I notice is this board doesn't have a fancy weight or anything like that, just a solid aluminum backplate and top plate. This doesn't make it any worse of a keyboard, but it just makes it look a little bit less premium. On the back, there's a very large cutout where the USB-C port is, and it's got a slider that we'll talk about later, as this board is wireless. Now, design is entirely subjective, but I would say the overall design of this is boring. Like, it's pretty boring. Sorry, designers. And speaking of boring, somebody must have gotten bored at the factory, as the stabilizers that came pre-installed in this thing were a little bit rattly. Nothing that can't be fixed with lube later in this video. Yes, that is lube. Now, I've definitely noticed some enthusiast features, which I'm going to talk about soon, but the one thing I definitely noticed about this board is the side cutout makes it really easy to maneuver around your desk. And by the way, my fingers are incredibly strong. I am Mr. Strong Fingers. Look at me go. Rock climber Hipyo, by the way, even though I haven't climbed in like 4 months due to tendonitis. Press F to pay respects to my tendons. So anyways, that's enough about the actual keyboard design. Like, it's a fine keyboard, but how do I get it open? Where are the screws?
Where are the screws?
There's no screws. Where are the screws? Where are the screws? Oh no. Oh man. Oh man. Now, here's the #1 stupidest design choice of this board. If you want to take it apart, which most people want to take apart their keyboards when they get a custom keyboard, by the way, you have to take off the adhesive feet, which means that you're not going to be able to put them on easily, and the potential modability of this keyboard really suffers. Wow, great shoulder content, Hipyo. I hope we get another episode of shoulder content soon. But aside from that terrible feature, the disassembly of this thing is pretty easy. It's just 4 screws and then you remove the knob, which I'm very good at. This shows you that the board, just like my heart, is in 2 separate pieces. Please do not do a sound test by tapping on my heart though, that would really hurt. Now that I've opened up to you, let's open up to this board and figure out what makes it good. Well, we don't actually know if it's going to be good yet, but I do see quite a lot of foam. Foam is a way that keyboard enthusiasts dampen a keyboard, which gives it a more muted typing sound and a softer typing feel. This PE foam on top of the PCB makes it a little bit poppier, and this foam at the bottom of the case, I'm not really sure what it does, but it makes it a little bit less pingy. Also, peekaboo, it's the battery and the USB daughter board, which is going to allow this thing to have a better gasket performance, which we'll talk about in just a second. Speaking of gaskets, oh wait, the second just happened. These are the squishy little bits of foam that are on the plate for the keyboard. This means that the actual keyboard part of the keyboard is only interfacing with the case through these foam gaskets. This allows for a softer typing experience, but the design here isn't that perfect, as there was a bit of a bulge in the bottom foam that made my gaskets not sit as flush. But I'll investigate the flex later. And no, we're not talking about gymnastics. Although I did do that in 3rd grade, and I think that's why I have scoliosis. Oh, it's a numpad.
Hey, what's up? I'm Mr. Numpad, and I'm gonna be taking this segment for the rest of the—
No, Mr. Numpad, you are not doing this, dude.
Give that back.
Anyways, Mr. Numpad has been relocated to the hospital, but let me relocate your eyes to this numpad. This is the Cidoo V21, and I think it pairs incredibly well with the 65 if that's what you end up with. This is a fully aluminum numpad that comes in at $60 US, fully built, with switches and keycaps, which is really, really nice. It's everything you'd want from a numpad, with the same build quality as the V65 and same design language, which is albeit a bit boring. It can be used in wired, Bluetooth, or 2.4 GHz, which gives you a lot of different options for integrating this into your workspace setup, and the knob. Anyways, it's also fully reprogrammable using VIA, which is the best keyboard software, by the way, which makes it so you could just turn this thing into a macro pad, which is amazingly helpful. It's also a little bit hefty, so if somebody breaks into your room like Mr. Numpad, you can throw it at them. I'm not responsible for any damage. Now, as I mentioned before in this video, the V65 was hot swappable. Let me show you what that is real fast. Also, these switches we're going to look at in just a second. Hot swap means you can change the switches without needing to solder or desolder. You just put the switches right in. Bing bong. Now, remember earlier in the video where I said the fully built keyboard for $10 more is a way better value? The main reason for that is these switches, which are the Cidoo matte switch set. You guys got to work on your naming here. Now, they have other switches, which I can't comment on because I didn't try them, and these come in at around $26 for a full set. They're a linear switch, which, by the way, the lighting diffuser hasn't been fully secured, which really sucks, so I had to put all of these individually back in while doing my magic. Anyways, they're a linear switch that's really well factory lubed, and I'll be putting that to the test in just a second. Speaking of test, here's a test for you. How many switches did I just put in that keyboard? Comment down below. Thank you. Now, if you're building this keyboard yourself at home, there are a bunch of other switch options that you could go for, and that's the main benefit of the bare bones version. But if you're strictly looking for value, I don't necessarily recommend this, and I'll talk about why the pre-built version is a better value in just a second. But next, I need to find some keycaps, and I figured, you know what, if I'm going crazy, why not? I'll go crazy. After all these years, I finally found the limes. There's a little joke for all you old school Hipyo tech viewers. Now for the keycaps here, I splurged on a set of keycaps, GMK Lime, which I got from Drop as an in-stock GMK set, linked down below. And it's an incredibly beautiful, clacky set of keycaps. I wanted this board to be clacky because I feel like I always build thocky keyboards, and you know, I need a little bit of variety in my life. I need to sprites it up with some lime. Sprites? What are you even saying? And overall, I think the lime keycap set really pairs well with the soft green of the case. And oh, the keyboard has RGB. I completely forgot to mention the keyboard has full per key RGB lighting that you can customize with VIA. Why did I not mention that? That's like the coolest epic gamer feature. Oh, anyways, sorry about that. The numpad has it too. If you wanted this keyboard to sound thockier, you could go with the PBT keycap set, kind of like Polycap's Hippo, like my Hippo set that I'll have linked down below. The knob still works, by the way. So they don't know that I did this, but I went and actually bought the V65 full kit myself with my own money, even though I could have asked for it, because it felt more right. The matte switches, which are included with the pre-built version of the board, are incredibly smooth. However, the spacebar, not so much. So I'm just gonna fix that real fast with a little bit of Permatex dielectric grease. You could also use a syringe full of Krytox, which is a lubricant, and I'm just gonna shoot it into the stabilizer. Oh yeah, that's a lot better. Don't worry, full sound test is coming later. But to answer the question of the video, why is every keyboard missing a numpad nowadays? Well, I think keyboards like this are a great example. When you can have a numpad separately, it allows you to have a lot more freedom on your desk if you play shooter games, or maybe you just want a compact desk setup. What I love most about the keyboard hobby is it's super subjective and everyone's a little bit different. Somebody might want the numpad built into their keyboard, but some people want a compact keyboard and then the freedom to have a numpad later. Me personally, I got into custom keyboards because I kept smashing my mouse into my keyboard, which had a full-size numpad attached to it, and I was running out of desk space rapidly. So yeah, overall, this is a fun little build, ignoring the terrible, terrible design decisions on the feet. Now, if you're in the market for a keyboard and you want something fully built, then honestly, this thing is probably a better value than something like the Keychron Q series or maybe the Monsgeek M7. But it's kind of debatable because I feel like with those keyboards, it's really going to be an aesthetics choice type of thing. Like they all have very similar features. I'll have links to both of those videos down below. I think the main distinguishing factor for a lot of people here is going to be this numpad. I think even if you don't want to use it as a numpad, having a matching device that you could use as a macro pad or a stream deck or something like that is definitely a really nice touch that some of those other brands don't offer. I know Keychron has the Q0 Plus, but it looks so ugly. Like, look at that thing. Ugh. So yeah, I'll be leaving you with the sound test, and
Hey, I'm Mr. Numpad, and I'm here. I'm back from the dead. I'm back from the ER. What's up? Hit subscribe and listen to this sound test. Yeah!
I'll open it on the NOLA cat bed for good lighting, but if this thing is anywhere as near as the pre-built that I did, let's see. So, yeah, it's fully built, and hold on, now I have to take it over to my desk. How does it sound? Yeah, it's just as good, but like, you get this one.